Hello, this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts. Apologies if I wobble. It's because I've taken my phone out of my camera holder because I wanted to show you this. This is something I made myself yesterday. It's an ink pad storage. I've got 2 trays on the top for my minis and my VersaFine that I need all the time. And then I made compartments, different ones, at the bottom for my elements and my spectrum noir, and on the 2 levels at the top they are for my distress inks that are slightly bigger. And I've made them all in different colours. I just used various pieces of cardstock I had, and I want to show you how I created this. It's not perfect. There are some bits where I could have glued them together a bit more nicely, but this will function for me very nicely, and I definitely prefer this to things I have seen online. So let me show you how I put this together. So for the boxes that hold, or the compartments that hold the elements or the spectrum noir ones, these are these longer ink pads. You need pieces that are 8 inches by 4¼ and this is ideal if you use A4 cardstock, because A4 cardstock is just over 8 inches long, so you can just use that, and that's what I did. I did use different thicknesses of cardstock. This one's actually not too thick, I reckon about 200, 210 maybe. I think I used anything up till 250. It doesn't really matter because by the time you glue them together it's quite sturdy, and all you do is take them in and out. You don't do anything else to them, so that should be sturdy enough. And this piece now, pardon my voice, you need to score that at 3, 3 3/4, 6 3/4 and 7½. So I'm going to do that now. So 3, 3 3/4, 6 3/4 and 7½. So, and on one of the long edges, I like to do it on this side here, you have to score it at 3/4. I'm going to show you in a moment how to cut this. With all my pieces, I think I've got 15 of this size, and I've got 10 of the distress size. I cut all the pieces in one go. I then scored them all, I then cut them all, and then I glued them all. I thought that was easier than doing them one by one. So for the distress oxide, because the boxes are higher, you need a piece that is, well, ideally if you want to have the same sort of flap, it should be 8½, but as I said, with the A4 piece of cardstock you don't have that, so just take it as a length as it is, which is 8¼ by 4½. The half comes about because you want the back, the flaps, to be as high as the boxes are. Because I've got a mix of the elements and spectrum noir and the distress, I wanted these to be the same depth as the others. If you only have distress inks and you just want to make it for distress inks, you can actually have this at 3½ rather than 4½ and have a less deep shelf there. So, but anyhow deep you have it, you still score it at 3, 4, 7 and 8. So I'm going to do that now. So it's going this as 3, 4, 7 and 8, and this just leaves me with this small flap here, but that's fine. And again, sorry, not again, this one here now on the side I'm scoring at 1 inch. I actually did all mine wrong. I had the wrong measurements and then afterwards decided to make this longer, but ideally you have it at 1. So that's all the scoring for these pieces. And for the trays on the top, I have the 2 trays on the top, and they cover a length of 15 inches, which is 5 of these little compartments. So my trays are 5.5 by 11.5. Sorry, that's the piece of paper I need for the trays. The trays aren't that size. But whichever size you do and need for the trays, you need the width plus 2 inches and the depth plus 2 inches. That's all you do. And what you do is you score at 1 and 2 all the way around. So 1 and 2, and then just turn it around. 1 and 2. Now you need to cut all the pieces. You need to cut the flaps. What you do for that is you cut next to the score line, as in on this side here, and then you take a wedge out here, and again next to the score line, and take a wedge out there. Just show you that a bit closer. Same here. So on the longer piece, as close as you can on the score line there, or next to the score line. So the score line is part of this piece here that you cut away. I can't remember, I think this one doesn't really matter, because yeah, cut a wedge there, but you cut this whole piece off like this, and then you cut a little wedge here. Sorry, I should cut this a bit neater. It will disappear in the back of the box anyway, but you want to be as precise as possible. So you basically, as I said, cut the wedge away there, cut off that corner, and then cut these wedges in like this. So I did not bother about burnishing these, but now you need to fold all the score lines. And the same with this one. Ideally you do this one first, actually, because then saves you from having to do them individually. So once you've done that, it's very easy to put together. You fold this over to these two bits, that flap and this side bit, and you put some glue, and I use my quick grab glue. That just goes on this bit here. And then you just fold this over on the edge there, sorry, on this edge there, just fold it flat, and that automatically meets the line there. Press it down, and then I just left all these to dry. So I did this all with all my boxes first. I'm going to show you for this video now what to do with it straight away. And depending on the thickness of the cardstock, it took a bit longer or was a bit faster. So I then put one of the bigger flaps down, put some glue on the little flaps here, and push these down, held them in place for a moment so they wouldn't come undone, and then put glue on this flap here. Again, it doesn't have to be super neat because I put a back to my whole box. What I did then is, and I learned that off Gemma from Gemma Lee Crafts and Sam Calcott, just use your boat folder, put it inside and just press it all down. And then your first compartment is ready. So I show you again on the one for the distress oxide. So again, I just fold it first. Actually, it's probably easier. And as I said, this has got a smaller flap because of the size of the cardstock. And this is not the best piece. This is just for demonstration purposes because it is quite flimsy. So this one obviously has got a deeper flap. So again, cut the wedges away here. As before, lay it flat, fold it over so you've got the bigger the side here, one of the side panels, and the flap. Put some glue on the flap, and then fold it over on this edge here so it meets that edge there, and press it down. And then again you close this one, glue this one down, and then this one, and then you've got the deeper compartment. And as I said, if you don't want the full depth here, you can cut these shorter at 3.5 inches all in all, and then these will be 2 3/4 deep, and then it'll be easier to pull them out. By the way, for mine, just in case you're wondering, I put some packaging tape, it's not packaging tape, sorry, packaging foam in the back of these afterwards. So I just cut some wedges off and just put them in so my distress oxides won't disappear in these, and that works fine for me. So if I ever want to change my ink pads and want to put some others in there, I can just take the foam out with my tweezers and then can reuse these for the others. So now all that's left to do for me is to show you how I cut the trays. So first of all, again, just fold these. You can burnish them. I'm folding all these inwards. I think actually with this one I did burnish them because you need to finish. And again, this cardstock is just for demonstration purposes. It's not a very good cardstock, so you see it is all wobbly. So ignore that. Don't know what happened here. So you want a certain weight to the cardstock. You can also use some patterned cardstock, you know, from the, like if you've got some nice 12 by 12 sheets. If you do though, you might want to put if you only got them one sided, sorry, you might want to put the pattern on the inside, because the other side you won't see. Just realised I need to zoom out a bit for you to be able to see this a bit better. So with this, because we're folding these up to have a double layer here, you need to, let me just think how I did it. You need to cut this away, and again cut a bit next to the score line, like a slide wedge. Cut this whole bit off, and then on this side again cut a little wedge next to the score line, and then you cut this one actually all the way through. So basically cut the square off here, cut that square off, cut that square off, have a bit of a wedge here, a bit of a wedge there, because it'll be easier to fold over, and then this one you keep as a flap on this one. I hope that makes sense. So I'll show you again on this one. Can actually cut all the way through here on the left hand side of the score line. Then this one you can cut off completely, and then you just need to cut this bit off, and then you do the same on the other side. I'm just doing that, and I'm just speeding this up for you. So now you need to fold the sides in. You start, let me just think. Yeah, you start with these sides here. Sorry, this is not cut through properly. So what you do is you glue these two tabs onto this here, and this is why I like my quick grab glue, because it's so much easier. So you just put some glue on this. Again, it doesn't have to be super neat, because well, this will all be hidden by the bits you fold over. But make sure it's straight. Sorry if there's a bit of a shade on the screen now, you can't see. Just press it down properly, and then you do the same here. So, and then you can put some glue on this one and fold it over and keep these flaps in place. It is a bit fiddly, but not too difficult. So, and then you do the same on this side. So glue these down, fold this over, and then that's all I have to do is just glue these down. And I found that when I was gluing them down, I had to hold them a bit in place because I wanted to pull out a bit like this. So just make sure it's straight, and then you've got a sturdy tray for the top. And then all you need to do is just to glue all the compartments together. I actually made myself a little base. I just used one piece of cardstock. I used the 12 by 12 sheet, and I didn't have a 15 by 15, so all I did was a 12 by 12 sheet, and I just started in the middle, glued one down, so the ones on the outside aren't really glued, or only partially glued onto that strip, but that was good enough for me to set me off there and start. Let me just move my box in again. Let me see if I can tilt it with all the top ones falling out, and show you again what I've done. Zoom out. So as I said, I put a piece of paper underneath, just there, and then just glued these down. I actually started with these first, because if I had thought about it, I would not have had two yellows just almost above each other, but it doesn't matter. What I did make sure of is where we've got the join, the flap, I made sure these all face upwards, because then you can't see them because you look from above. So I thought that made a difference. So again, I used my quick grab glue. You can use your collal glue, but I just wanted it to be a quick job. So with the collal glue, you've got a bit of wriggle room, which can be an advantage, but I just wanted it rather to grab quickly. And as I said, I just did one base first, and then put these on top. I outlined them first with my different colours to see that they were actually not you know, they didn't have two oranges together or two blues. And then, as I said, I built this one separately, just glued that on the top, and then glued the trace on the top. And then for the back and the sides, I'm not quite sure I can show you this now without them all falling out. Let me just move my camera up a bit more. There we go. I just took an A4 sheet and I measured the height of mine and the depth. So yours might be different, that's why I'm not giving you any measurements for that. And I basically wrapped two pieces of cardstock just going around the side, and I scored it at the right width, and then just put it on the back, and this overlapped a bit. So yeah, that's all I did for the back. I'm sure you can see you there just about before they all fall out. So yeah, and it is quite sturdy and it works for me. By the way, for my distress inks and the Lavinia, I just used a bit of, it's like adhesive stickers, and I just ink swatched my inks on them and just put a strip on the side. The Spectrum now already have got a sticker on the side, so that's no issue. Yeah, oh, these, by the way, these are the VersaFine Clear. They fit perfectly in the higher ones. And yeah, I'm quite pleased with this. I just need to find a good spot on my desk so that they're not too much in the way, because it is quite a big box, but I wanted my inks to be handier than where I had them. I will in the near future actually do a craft room tour and show you how I have organized some of my things. And yeah, oh, by the way, a little side note, if you do own mica powders, I did my fingernails today with black nail varnish and some mica powders, and this is what happened. I really like these, so another little crafty tip for you. Yes, if you like this box and you think about maybe building your own, you might want to give me a like, and if you'd like to subscribe to my channel to see more of my paper craft projects, which are mostly cards, then you might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that. I'll see you soon.